Welcome to this tutorial on OpenElement. Today, I'm going to show you a method to create a new responsive website with OpenElement. If you don't know the importance of having a responsive site, I invite you to watch the tutorial on this topic on my YouTube channel. In the meantime, I'll tell you that it is a must-have because of the variety of screen sizes used to browse the internet. The goal is therefore to create a site like this with a home page containing several sections, a menu, some links to other pages, and a contact form. This video tutorial is accompanied by a text-based tutorial showing the few useful code lines for this project. You will find it on the OpenElement forum. I am assuming that you have already looked at the list of site templates available through the software, as well as additional templates offered or sold by Sensod. Then you decided, despite this, to make your site template-free. The first step is to have a plan. What better way to make one than a pencil and a piece of paper? You can also try to take another site as an example and replicate it using OpenElement. Let's start by creating a new project. I give it a name, and as with everything else about file names in OpenElement, be careful not to use spaces in the name. I keep the default folder offered by OpenElement. My project will be in English first, but I will also have a French version. I choose not to use a template, and then I create the project. As can be seen in the Site Explorer on the left, the software creates a new project. It includes, among other things, a home page of limited width and a layer called Base. It is preferable to add a favicon for the project. This is the small image that appears next to the site name in the Browser tab. So I add a favicon through the Project tab and the favicon button. I select a 32 by 32 pixels or 16 by 16 pixel icon file. This layer is a powerful tool for standardizing some parameters. Take note that while OpenElement offers a few basic fonts, I downloaded the font I like from Google Font site. I add it to the project and set it as a default font. This way, it is possible to choose several standard parameters, which will apply to the whole project. The first that comes to my mind is the page width. I'm going to change it to full screen. To tell browsers how to adapt the content to their window, I add a tag to the project in SEO info and meta. Under the meta viewport, I add the following code, the text of which you will find in the tutorial on the OpenElement forum. I save the layer and go back to my home page. I refresh the display, then the base layer changes take effect, since the base layer is properly attached to my page as indicated in the menu. I'm adding a group of elements that will serve as a container for the whole page. I assign the following parameters in the Properties screen, accessible via the tab of the same name at the top right. For the size, it will be width 100% and height 2000 pixels. Such a height will make my work easier. I will change this dimension after completing the contact screen on this page. Its position will be 0 pixel from the top and the left. As behavior, the overruns will be visible and the display mode will be relative. For those who are wondering, the difference between relative and absolute is explained in a video tutorial on my YouTube channel. At the bottom left of the screen in the Element Explorer, I renamed this group of elements Page Group of Elements. It will help you find your way later. To create the first screen, I insert a group of elements to which I assign a width of 100% and a temporary height of 600 pixels. The overruns are visible with relative mode. I rename it Home Group of Elements. I add a named anchor to it for future navigation needs. Since I will have a 60 pixel height fixed menu on top of screen, I assign it a height of 60 pixels. Then I copy it 3 times. OpenElement alerts me that the anchors have the same name, but it renames it anyway. In the Element Explorer, I rename the 3 group of elements and their anchors in a meaningful way to About, Info, and Contact. Voila, my homepage structure is completed. I now go to the Home panel. I assign it a background image with the following CSS properties: middle position, fixed image repetition, and cover size. I add a group of elements where I will put the title and subtitle. Note that it will fall on the red line that appears on hover. If it falls in the wrong place, it can easily be moved as follows. I rename it Title Group of Element. I assign it 50% external margins on the top and on the left. This is 50% of the width of the parent element, the home group of elements. The overruns will be visible with relative display mode. I am inserting 3 single-line text elements. This group of element will have an automatic width and height. The title will be 78 pixel high, yellow color, and will have H1 title. Be careful. it is far better to assign the configuration to the block of text and not to the text in the block. So I select the block by clicking only once to apply these changes. My subtitles will be white, 36 pixel high, and the first line will have the title tag H2. This home panel will have to fill the whole screen, so I change the minimum height to 60 pixels and I set its height to 100 viewport height, which means it will have to take the full height of the screen. Using the Edit Media function, I will modify some behaviors depending on the size of the browser window. I select tablet, smartphone, small desktop before reducing the text size to 36 and 24 pixels. To make it a bilingual site, I select the language, then I select the text block, and then complete the translation. Next, the About panel. I add a multi-line text block just below the anchor and then insert the text. I set the width to 80%. I center it in the About panel. Then I add a title to this text. I change the title size and color. I insert an image just before this title. I configure to left float. I give it some CSS code to get a 30% width as well as right and bottom margins. The code used here is also indicated in the tutorial on the OpenElement forum. I use Edit Media to change the text width to 96% on smaller screen. I use Edit Media to change the text width to 96% on smaller screen. I add top and bottom margins. I set the group of element height to automatic mode, and I'm done with this part. Now the information panel. I previously created an information page containing enhanced text on the various topics introduced in this section of my page. I'm going to need more temporary workspace in this section. I change it to 1400 pixel height. I add a background color. I insert a 700 by 1100 pixel group of element with visible overruns and relative mode, and then make it centered. I insert a new 300 by 500 pixel group of element, which I leave in absolute mode this time. The overruns will be visible. It will be centered. I give it 33 pixels outer margins and I set its background color. I insert an image element into it, which I give a 300 pixel width. I fix it at 0, 0 coordinates from the upper left corner. I add a block of text that will serve as a teaser for the information page. I give it a width of 280 pixels and then center it horizontally. I add the text and give it a title. I add a text link element that I configure to target the Info1 anchor in the info page. I fix it on 0, 0 coordinates from the lower right corner. I add interior margins, a background color, and then the text color through the link menu item. I change the text content to say more. I set the image link target. I duplicate the group of elements. I set the parent group of element to automatic size. I set the duplicates link, title, and text. I duplicate the parent group of elements and set its content. I switch the group of elements height to automatic. It's now time to proceed with the last screen, the contact screen. To start, I insert a horizontally centered group of element 40% wide by 600 pixel high. I change the background color, then I adjust the display mode and the overrun setup. I insert two text input fields, a multi-line text input field, and a form button. The input fields will be 80% wide and will be centered. I give the input fields 10% wide external margins, then I remove the button margins. The form button will have 10% outer margins and will be right justified. The group of element will be set to automatic height. I add some text in the placeholder property. We notice that the size and the font will have to be adjusted. To adjust the text field style, I go through Element Style Zone and Text Input Field. Then I add validation rules. Through Edit Media, I adjust the width of the form according to the size of the screen. I add an email form element to my page. I configure the email address that will receive visitors' messages, the subject of these messages, and following recent changes in Internet security policies, the sender's address, which must be an address from the same site. If my site has the domain name mysite.com, no reply at mysite.com is a valid entry, even if it doesn't exist. Regarding the menu, I simply followed the instructions from my tutorial for a responsive menu available on my YouTube channel. This ends this tutorial on how to create your first site with OpenElement. You may spend some time trying to recreate it with OpenElement or save yourself a lot of time by purchasing the model from my site, denislafrance.net, for a really affordable price. Before you leave, don't forget to like this video on YouTube. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this video.